is Dudley here, and I am here at a new garden that I actually have not been to, but I've heard so much about. I'm here with my new friend, Mr. Parker, and he has been making this garden beautiful all summer. It's a lot bigger than our garden, so what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about him, and then we'll take a tour of his garden. Mr. Parker, who are you? How'd you get here? What's going on?
My name is Aaron Parker. You can call me Aaron if you want.
Okay.
But I'm a teacher here at Aiken High School in College Hill. I teach English as a second language, but I am also doing gardening as a second subject area. Being outside has always been a passion of mine. So our garden here has been here actually for about 4 years. All right, 4 or 5 years. For 3 of those years at least, it laid pretty much dormant. Okay. It was a math project. They gridded it out. That was great. And then, they might have put in a few little tomato plants here and there, and the deer came in and ate them. Stuff like that, or lettuce, that kind of thing. And so, but 2 years ago, my principal, Miss Vota, came up to me and asked if I was interested in taking on this challenge. And fortunately, I have the students that have a background and experience in agriculture. Subsistence agriculture. I teach the international students, and so many of them are newcomers to this country. They are refugees. They're asylum seekers. They are ones that had their plot at their house in the refugee camp, and that is how they made ends meet. And so when I brought them down here and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" They said they just started tearing into the soil, which was amazing. And from that, what we've done is mainly it is not exclusive to our international students here at Aiken. It's an outdoor classroom. It's a laboratory. It's an experiment, but also it's a celebration of culture. And so what we plant here is what our students recognize. It's what they recognize in their native countries and what they can recognize here. And the garden is so much about producing food as it is, kind of therapy.
Yes. We're going to take a little tour, and I am just so happy that now we'll have 4 programs in the Cincinnati Public School District. Ready for a tour?
Absolutely.
All right. What do you think we should see first?
Well, I think what you should see first are some of our legacy, and that is the students who actually started this garden. We just had a graduating class, of course, 2020, and definitely a different end of the year than they expected. But the important thing about these students are they're the ones that actually were instrumental in starting our ESL program, our SLIFE program, which is students with limited or interrupted formal education. But they are also students who started our garden. They are the leaders. And so as all Cincinnati Public Schools did when we got their graduation, we got these little yard signs and everything everywhere. But we had our graduation here at Aiken, and it was actually very well done. And all their yard signs, everybody's yard sign was up there on Belmont here, and but nobody took them home. So I was like, what are we going to do with them? So I brought them down here, and I put them in the garden. We had 16 international students graduate this year, and 14 of them are down here. And we put them in here as kind of a tribute and a legacy to them. So these are all graduates for 2020, and so we can't thank them enough. And we look forward to our 7th graders, 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, and our current senior class to do the same. So that's our goal, graduation, and to learn something. But we do honor those people who have done a lot of work for us. We here at Aiken are project-based learning, and so that's why this garden is perfect for us. So we're all about hands-on learning, realia. We've got 35 raised beds here at Aiken. There was no fence going around here. That fence was put in last year. My son is graduating. He graduated this past year. He's an Eagle Scout, and he does his Eagle Scout project here to put in the deer fence around here. We tapped into that Boy Scout, or Scouts it's now called, resource. We've got a raised bed for students who might use a wheelchair, done as an Eagle Scout project. And we also have our hoop houses that are removable and transferable for extending the season for our fall planting. Wow. So those are all Eagle Scout projects. Wow. So that kind of is how everything kind of came to be. We do have a compost bin we rescued from the Civic Garden Center that we reconstructed this summer, 3-bin system. and it's cooking right now. I'm into whimsy, I guess, creative trellising. So I found gates on the side of the road, and I put them in here as lattice. We've got a table and chairs back here, and I've got a door, and I've got I guess a loft bed back there for trellising. So,
oh, that's great.
you know, it's better than rusty wire.
Yeah.
You know.
And has the fence been working to keep the deer out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we
don't have a fence yet.
Yeah, we found that is essential. You know, it's only 4 feet high, and we know deer can jump higher than that. But it really hasn't been an issue. It's been good. It's been good. Our students, first of all, grew all of this from seed. Okay, so we do have an indoor grow lab, 4 layers. We've got the fancy LED lights, and some of these plants we grew this year. Some of them are volunteers from last year. Like this is Swiss chard that replanted itself from last year, and so but our students went through the catalogs, Baker's Creek and Seed Savers, and they chose not the plants that you would find in the grocery store. All right, they found the things that were international like themselves. We wanted to grow things that were a little different, okay, and special. So we can go around?
Yeah.
All right. So the first thing is we do have a lot of eggplant, and I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is our first, that's not a very good one, but that's a tie-ribbed eggplant. We have 4 types of eggplant. So tie-ribbed eggplant, if you want to come over here, is a better example here. And they get a little bigger than this, but there's an example.
Awesome.
All right. We have Casper eggplant.
Well, I wonder why it's called that.
Huh. Casper the Friendly Ghost. We also have, and I've picked a few of these recently, but this is called Snake of Mulga, but this will get about like 12 to 24 inches long.
Whoa.
All right.
I have heard of these.
And these are awesome. Actually, these are great because you take the Casper and the Japanese egg. If you don't like eggplant, it actually tastes a little mushroomy. And so, and you slice it up, you grill it, you know, you're maybe not going to make your baba ganoush out of it, but it is just lovely. And it's a small enough where it's just like a little Lunchable. It's wonderful.
Awesome.
It's such a cool eggplant. So those are our 4 types of eggplants. We have tomatillos, and we have a large population of students that are from Guatemala. And so the tomatillos that we have here are from Coban, Guatemala. They're a purple tomatillo, as you can see. And you see there's purple there. And as they ripen, they'll turn all purple. And just a beautiful plant. A beautiful, beautiful plant. It should get 4 or 5 feet tall, and it's just beginning to, ooh. Yeah.
You got a couple on the ground there.
So there you go.
Neat.
Purple, you make some soup out of that, chop it up, put it in some salsa. Good stuff.
Now, in case you guys saw this it's not a real dog. I was like, wait, it is a real dog cage, but this is a little statue that's standing guard over here.
I've been doing kind of a healthy DoorDash, and so I load up a crate of food. I give them a text. Who else wants it? I'm the cross country coach. I do a lot of healthy nutrition stuff with my cross country runners. They get a little priority because I want them to not get injured and eat well. So they get a lot of tomatoes, they get a lot of cucumbers, they get a lot of eggplant, and so one of the things that I ask is when I give them food is they can show me evidence that they're using it, okay? And so in the past and this summer, what I do is I get an example of, you know, what'd you do with that Japanese egg, what'd you do with those tomatoes, you know, and to see how they are applying, how they make food to the food that we are growing. Everybody grows tomatoes, right?
Look at these.
Right? Those are red zebra.
Yes.
Red zebra tomatoes, and those aren't red, but there's one over here. This is probably our coolest tomato. This is called a Rize tomate, and what it is, here I'll find one that's really ready. And it's a German tomato, and it's called the traveler tomato because what you're supposed to do with it is, first of all, it's a sour tomato, and what you can do is you can peel it off. And what you can do is you're traveling, you're walking along, you peel it off, you put it back in your backpack. It won't goo all over the place, right? But then you can munch on it. And then when you're hungry, you pull it out, you pull off another lobe. It's the coolest tomato. It's like my favorite tomato just because of the application of it. It's different. I went to Ohio State.
So you absorbed some agriculture while you were there because I think you can't not.
Yeah, and I spent pretty much every summer of my younger years traveling to Iowa. My parents are from Iowa, so I'm around this all the time. So let's see now here. There are more tomatoes here. This is one of the really pleasant ones that we have this year. It's called a tasty evergreen. Oh. And so it stays green. Here's a really good example. Whoa. That one's ready. All right. And so this is right on the breaking point. So, you don't want to pick them until they're mushy. Pick them right before. But you'll see it. This will stay green. It'll turn a little bit yellowish, but it won't. But it is appropriappropriately named Tasty Evergreen because it's super, super tasty. But this is a spectacular tomato. More of those red zebras. That's why the zebras, because it's got the stripes.
Got the stripes. Now it looks like you're fostering a little rhubarb over here.
Yes. So we do want perennials. Mm-hmm. All right, and rhubarb takes about 2 to 3 years to get started, and so we have started that. We have some in some plants, and if we had more hands during this whole time, we would have gotten more in. I've got some in pots, and hopefully we can get those in here in the fall, and have rhubarb by, I don't know, next year, after that. We have a lot of students that are from Nepal, and so one of the popular plants that they have, traditional dishes, is called bitter melon. This is a Karela, all right, Karela, bitter melon. This is a white Okinawan bitter melon, and it's good for diabetes. You chop it up, you got the seeds out of there. They fry it, but you don't have to. You can eat it raw, but it is bitter. You can salt it to take away some of the bitterness, but it's it's so much about health. It's not just growing something. It looks cool too, but
it does look cool.
But it's about health. It's about tradition. It's about one of our Nepali families asked me for seeds because they wanted to grow it. She's growing with her grandma. It's like, absolutely. So it's generational. Got some giant Mongolian sunflowers, some Ankaras, some red torch, and I believe there's another one. But you can also make sunflower corn on the cob, basically. You know that? Mm-mm. You can take the sunflower head, and you can basically you rub it with oil. You can turn it upside down on a grill, low heat, for about 2 minutes. Take it off. This is when the seeds are kind of soft, not when they're fully developed. But then you can rub more oil on it, kind of stuff on there, and you can eat it just like corn on the cob.
What?
Yeah. They hang their heads low, but you see the birds have gotten to some of them. One of the plans of our students was we want flowers this year. And so we planted flowers. And one of their plans was, let's put flowers in the middle to attract pollinators to the inside of the garden. And so we put our sunflowers also in the middle, because their idea was, we'll get the bees coming in past the other stuff, and we're going to have fruit.
So you listen to them a lot. That's really important.
Well, it's really theirs. So, I'm just there to kind of help them out. Obviously, we have cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes, and we actually have some hybrid stuff that's developed from last year that, I don't know, they're cross-pollinated, and all of a sudden they made a different shape of tomato.
Whoa.
I know. It's very
cool.
I'll see if I can find it.
Is this another bitter melon?
That is another bitter melon. Yeah, that one obviously has gone through decomposition, all right? But you'll see inside there's going to be these seeds. Now, these are the seeds. See that? I mean, that'll stain your shirt. So right there, that's a seed I want to save, because next year that's going to be the green bitter melon. Okay. And you don't want to eat that, but that's a good seed.
That's awesome.
All right? I'm going to put that right there. All right? So even when things kind of start to decompose and you want to kind of be in that goo to ferment a little bit, we're going to save those seeds, put them in, start them inside, and get them started for next year, and have some more bitter melon.
Nice. Oh, here's the bed.
Yeah. So
Anybody want to take a nap?
This is taking raised bed gardening to the next level. That's a joke. It's a loss. That's a raised bed.
Oh, teacher joke.
So we have peppers also. Let's see now here. We have Sugar Rush Peach. I'll show you some of those. We've got Lemon Drop. We've got Brazilian Starfish. We've got Georgia Flame. We've got Reza Macedonia peppers. And we've got fish peppers. And I'll try to find you all examples of those. This is the Reza Macedonia. And I just picked off of this earlier, but you'll see how it gets kind of striped. Huh. And so as that gets longer, it gets a little grayer. This is a hot pepper. So Macedonia is a country in Europe. And so, but a cool, not a grilling one. This is a thin skin. More of a chopping and use it fresh. Okay. Because it will burn. Let's see now here. Here's our door. There's rebar in there to keep it from falling down.
Okay.
we have these are mini red bell peppers. These are the miniest red bell peppers ever. They're more cute and interesting than practical.
Wow.
But yeah, but they're cool.
Yeah.
And we like to plant cool. We built this scarecrow last year at the College Hill Fest. He's kind of sad right now. We gotta get him some help.
He needs a makeover.
Let's see now here. Oh, can we go back here? 'Cause
Yeah.
I've got a Brazilian starfish here.
What kind of cucumber is that?
Oh, this? Oh, great. So this is a white skinless cucumber. Okay, and so I gleaned through them yesterday, so I'm not sure if we have any mature ones, but they don't get long and green, and so as they get out in the sun, they get kind of a sunburn, so they turn kind of yellowish, orangish, and so, but, you know, actually, like, a little bit bigger than that is perfect, and these little, like, spiky things come off.
Okay.
But it's basically a skinless, so you don't get that hard rind around a cucumber, you know. So you put a little chili on there, a little lime, you know, a little limon in there, and oh, it's good.
You're ready. Neat. And then pickling would take a lot less time.
There's no like tough skin or anything like that, and they're small.
Awesome.
They don't get like huge. Huh. This is a Brazilian starfish. I'm really excited about this pepper.
Ooh.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Now it's going to turn red, bright red. But this is like a tropical, obviously it's from Brazil, but it's a tropical sweet pepper that has spice. So it's got like a fruitiness to it, and but it's just so cool looking.
That is really
I mean, it's just beautiful.
It looks like an acorn squash.
I know. We battle weeds.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason these 3 beds and a few others are wild, we're creating habitat. No, but, you know.
You are.
We are. But honestly, there's plants in there, but what used to really be in there was cabbage. Last year, during the summertime, we partnered with a company called Fab Ferments. Jordan and Jen are good friends of mine, and they came down here during our summer school. We planted all this cabbage, and we turned that cabbage and our onions and our bok choy and all other stuff, anything else we could find. We turned it into kimchi. And so our plan was this year, like, we're going to grow even more cabbage, and we're going to make more kimchi. And then we had a pandemic.
Yeah.
And there's only so much cabbage one person can eat or distribute. And so that didn't quite work out this year. But our kimchi last year was amazing.
Well, that's awesome.
And so it's not so much just growing food and just saying, like, oh, we got to cook with it now. It's how can you preserve it? And one of our students from Nepal, she brought home a jar of kimchi that we made, and she gave it to her mom, and her mom said, I taste Nepal. Because when they were in the refugee camps, they didn't have refrigeration. That's how they preserved their food, was through fermentation. And so just a real moment. A real moment, and even though they have a refrigerator now, you know, I mean, but you know, it's connecting to a past, you know, and I think that's what we need to do just by learning about, well, gardening and agriculture. We got beets.
Yum.
We got red beets. We got big yellow beets. Some of them are kind of beet, you know. I'm not a beet person myself, but my wife said they're the best beets she's ever had.
Oh, cool.
So there's
I love
advertisement
beets.
for you.
Yeah.
So, and beets are a good fall crop, so we might do some fresh beets, you know, and see what we can do with that. Oh, here's that lemon drop, so you can see that beautiful
Ooh,
yellow.
Yes.
So that one's ready.
Nice.
You know, that pepper's ready.
Is that spicy, you said?
Yeah, it's spicy. It's not too bad though.
Here's your fish.
Yeah, there's my fish. Yeah, so this is a beautiful variegated leaf there. Fish pepper. You see, these are. I just picked some off. These are red, and you'll see how they're kind of. Let's see now here if I can find one that is kind of striped. When they're young, they're kind of hooked. Here, you come over here. When they're young, they're kind of like a little bit curly, like that one. See, it's kind of like a fish hook.
Yes.
All right. But then what they do is they start turning green, and then they turn bright red. And I don't see one here, but this is a traditional African-American pepper.
Okay.
All right, so, you know, we're going back to, like, you know, pre-Civil War era, you know, and this is a pepper that African-Americans in this country would grow and use in their cooking and their soups and everything like that. And so I was like, you know, again, a large portion of our population here at Aiken is African-American. Why not plant something that is representative of their history?
Yes.
Black kale. We have got Swiss chard. We did lettuce. Obviously, the lettuce is done. We're going to start that new. But I think I reached my kale toxicity. I ate a lot of kale chips, a lot of kale salad, a lot of kale smoothies. All right, and so, but really teaching our kids to eat kale, and so it's a superfood. It's incredibly healthy. So, so we did kale, and we'll. One of the things we're going to do more of that our kids want is spinach. So spinach is going to be a big fall crop for us. We're going to do like 5 beds of spinach because they want spinach.
Great.
All right. Probably wasn't everything. We got a ton of basil. I probably missed out on a few things. Got a lot of food.
Mr. Parker, thank you so much for having us in your garden today.
You're welcome.
Got a lot of food.
We do have a lot of food.
We know where to go if I need kale.
Yes, exactly. You can achieve kale toxicity here at Aiken.
So I'm looking forward to some recipe exchanges. I'm wondering, what are you planning to do with this space as we continue the growing season?
Well, we've got plans for the right now and into fall, and it's all about growing. And so this summer we have a number of women who are participating in the Green Girls in STEM program.
Great.
It's been a challenge because it's been remote, and it's hard to engage remotely, and that'll be a challenge coming up here in the fall. How can you do remote gardening? That's going to be difficult. But the opportunities here, I think, are immense. We are planning to be putting in an orchard in October, and our students have given feedback on what trees they want, and so that's going to be right over here on this hillside connected to our garden, and so they will be active in that. And so my vision is that typically, students, and this, you go to school and you look forward to that field trip when you get to go to school and go away from school, right? You get to go to the museum, and that kind of a thing. Well, here, we're going to be remote for at least the first 5 weeks. So, what if you had a field trip to school? I
like it.
And so, and we have the place that's for that. Obviously, we'll have to work through safety protocols and make sure that is okay. But really, we want students here. We want students in a classroom or in the garden, and we have to find. This is a great excuse for having them here and saying that we've got a project, and this is our purpose, this is our class, and this is where we need to learn from. And so those are our immediate goals: is to get students to actually be on here and helping them with transportation to getting here, because we here at Aiken, most of our students that work in the garden here do not live right here in College Hill. Mm-hmm. I mean, they live miles and miles away. So getting here is a challenge, and it's a barrier. But that's the thing is, we found people in our community and young people walking by here all the time, and this garden's always open. There's no lock on the door. People can come in, they can grab a tomato, they can grab a pepper, they can pull a weed or two. They don't pull weeds though.
Or 10.
Or 10. And but the thing is finding a way that we can get people here and letting people know that this is here and it's here for them.
That's awesome. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to share with us today before we sign off?
All I'd say is if you're in College Hill, walk on down the hill and come see our garden and take a look.
That sounds great. Thanks, bud.
Thank you.